previous episode, I do have a sort of rubric to work from, and I think the thing that I want to begin by saying tonight, the night I'm recording this, by the way, is Saturday the 27th of March. It's dark outside because it's nighttime, and that was the weather report. But I wanted to start by saying who I think can fuck off this week. And I think certainly the main group of people who can indeed fuck off are cops. If you're a cop listening to this right now, don't. First of all, we don't want you listening in. We don't want you here. We can survive without you. But also, get a proper job. Is the main thing I'd say. We've seen recently, just last night in Bristol, yet more examples of police violence. Never forget that all this began because a serving police officer allegedly murdered a woman, and the police got all up in their feelings about the fact that people were criticising them for this, and a squad led by the guy who was in charge of the Department of the Police Force, to which the copper alleged to have murdered Sarah Everard, alleged doing a lot of work in that sentence, alleged to have murdered Sarah Everard, was employed in the section of this cop who was put in charge of policing the vigil for her funeral. That doesn't sound like a good idea, does it? You know, maybe I'm stupid. I mean, I'm sat on the floor of my flat talking into a microphone on a Saturday night. But, you know, it doesn't seem wise to put a person so personally close to a case in charge of policing a vigil related to it, does it? But, well, we saw how the police react to feeling bad about themselves on that night, and of course the way the police generally react to feeling bad about themselves is they try to externalize those feelings. It's a dynamic I'm familiar with. I feel the same thing very often when I'm very angry. I have a real urge to, in my case, take a hammer to the head, or a large clubbing implement to the head of someone, just so that they can understand, so that I can externalize the pain in my head into actual real physical pain in theirs. I know that feeling. The difference between me and a cop is I don't act on it, and I know that if I were to act on it, I wouldn't have a bunch of sycophantic, lily-livered, bootlicking twats praising me and going on about, well, they shouldn't have been going and protesting, should they? You know, and really, what is the point of the British police force if they are so thin-skinned that the slightest criticism leads them to, as someone pointed out yesterday, go last night to a peaceful protest tooled up specifically for violence, and the giveaway that they went there tooled up specifically for violence, specifically with offensiveness in mind, is that they were carrying the small, round shields. They were not afraid that bottles were going to be thrown at them. They were not afraid that stones and rocks were going to be thrown at them. They, if they had been, would have been carrying the large oblong shields, which provide much better whole body protection in that kind of situation, and which can be used to form a phalanx in the old-fashioned Roman style for protection. No, they took these smaller, buckler-style shields, which are of much greater use as an offensive weapon. Really as an offensive weapon, in addition to a clubbing implement such as a truncheon, or a slashing implement such as a sword if you happen to be into the whole HEMA thing. I'm not personally, but I follow people who are historically, what is it, historic European martial arts. I was going to say historically exact martial arts, but how exact can you be? But anyway, yes, the police have done their usual thing of losing their shit, and of course, because we live in rainy fascist Ireland, tons of people, even nominal Labour MPs, have came crawling out of the woodwork to say how awful it is for the police, and how the police feel under siege in Bristol. They may feel under siege. It's also noticeable that they've lied to the press about injuries to their officers. You know, they said that some of their officers had had their arms broken at the protests before these ones, and strangely, that was later found to be a lie. No officers had their arms broken. Would you believe that? Could it possibly be the same British police, best in the world, remember, who lied about Hillsborough, and lied about Blair Peach, and lied about Jean-Charles de Menezes, and lied about Ian Tomlinson, and lie and lie and lie consistently to protect their privilege as licensed thugs, and react like this when the slightest bit of criticism is something they're meant to deal with? No. In the immortal words of Ice Cube, fuck the police. And also, although I don't Ice Cube even knows who he is, fuck Alex Salmond, who this week decided that he was going to set up the Arbor Party, the Scottish independence party for people who are just too transphobic to live, basically. Now, I would certainly never suggest that Alex Salmond has taken the shilling of the hated English to set up a party purely with the interest of splitting the pro-independence vote in Scotland. I would certainly not suggest that, and this is me not suggesting that even as I speak now. However, it certainly would be in the interests of more than a few people who seem to be obsessed with keeping the Union to suddenly have something happening to split the pro-independence vote in Scotland.